But all right, so now we're on live. We got 5 people on. We got Peter. We got Mascotix, the surprising one from the Twins. GB, Peter, some usual suspects. So what up, everyone? I know we're going to be stepping on each other's toes, but...
especially when you ignore the 5th member.
I said Mizzy, yo. I said, oh, you mean me? I'm J-Man. Yeah, cool. But, I mean, I'm not sure if you're mentioning you, Mizzy. I mentioned you. You were actually number 1.
No, I should be.
You were number 1. Actually, Mizzy, I'm surprised you're here, bro, because usually you kind of flake when we talk about pods and stuff. So.
Listen, I always want to do a pod, but my schedule has changed. I'm now available in the evenings and not during the day, so why got nothing better to do right now?
Welcome to YouTube. What up, everyone else?
I think the most surprising guess has to be Mascotix. I think most members thought he offed himself after last night, losing the 3-0 lead to the Astros there.
I did.
Right, Mask, I got to ask. All right, so you just blew, it sucks. It sucks dick, actually. Like, you literally were up 3-0. Could have been to World Series.
Man, I was ready to show GB what we was all about.
But, is this a good season, or are you pissed?
No, I'm not pissed, man. I'm actually kind of graceful to the mogul gods, man. I made it a lot farther than I was. I actually thought I was going to lose to Mizzy in the wild card.
Makes 2 of us.
Man, I would be flipping the table if I lost 3-0. I don't give a damn what my team is.
Man. I didn't even think I was going to get to the wild card. Everybody knows I was going to rebuild the team. I was full set on rebuilding the team. And something happened, man, at the end of the season. We ended up in the wild card and then blew out the Jays in 3 games. And anxiety was high. I sit and stared at my computer for about 30 minutes before anybody said anything. And I don't know. It happens, man. We'll be back next year.
All right. I like that. But
so that totally spoiled your rebuild plans? No more rebuild in Minnesota?
Yeah, no more rebuild, man, because, I kind of got stuck with Lowry now. I figured it was brought to my attention that I couldn't type A him, so I got to keep him. So he was kind of the big deal.
Oh, that's right. You picked him up mid-season, isn't that?
Yeah, somebody's straight douche for doing that to you.
Yeah, that's pretty douchey.
Yeah,
I mean, you could just resign him to a 1-year deal and then.
I signed him to a 2-year, so he'll be available after July 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me, by the way. I caught that and helped him out.
Yeah, thanks, Mizzy, because I was going to lose him for real. I was going to lose.
Well, no, what would have happened is Matty would have just told you halfway in free agency, we fucked up. Do you want him back or let him go? And
honestly, man, right after I read your message, Matty hit me up in the chat box and told me, "Hey, man, you're going to lose him." I'm like, "Damn it!" So, oh well.
Inside job.
Listen, I was just bored sitting in work, just scrolling through everybody's re-signings.
I do that regularly, actually, just so I could pick up some cats for $1 million.
Man, if you got mogul at work, that's a problem. That's too distracting.
I don't. I only have the site on my phone, and I was just scrolling through the stuff on there.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you guys thought about the playoffs in general? TT, Texas Tornado, won his first title. A couple big upsets. Obviously, we touched on the Twins, but Peter, man. How are you feeling today?
I mean, I feel like shit, but I guess I should lead off by congratulating Ryan and the Astros. I mean, those guys, they've been in the playoffs. They've been in the playoffs with a serious chance for feels like somewhere between 5 and 10 seasons now, and they weren't making anything happen. I know the World Series that I won. I don't know if he was up in that series or not. I think he might have been 3-2 at one point, and he blew that one. So he was able to come back this year and get that monkey off his back, because he definitely was working with a monkey.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at his team closely, he's had this core for, I don't know, probably 5-7 seasons. I mean, that could be. I could be exaggerating here. It seems like it's been a long time.
No, he has 6 straight division wins.
6 straight. Wow. And funny because this might have been his last year, his last year with this squad as you know it, because you saw it kind of crumbling away a little bit when he got rid of Kirkpatrick. That was a big-time pitcher that he lost. So you're thinking oh, okay, they're leaking oil. Maybe another team in the AL West would emerge. So personally, I had no idea that we would see a championship team in Houston, because I thought that window was over and just kind of just hanging on.
Let's be fair. The AL West is trash.
Yeah, I still think Houston can make a couple moves this season or be right back in. I don't think their window's closed, but they certainly aren't the team that they were 3 years ago. I think they were I don't have
Absolutely.
team history in front of me, but they were definitely 100-win, 105-win team pretty constantly before this year.
Absolutely. I just saw as soon as they got rid of Kirkpatrick, I'm like, damn, man, there goes that Houston window. No way. No way. And wow. For a second I thought Muscatics might make it, but shit. First of all, what's up? What's up?
No, I was gonna say that I'm looking at the West here. The West looks like it's going to get a little bit better as far as competitiveness over the next couple of years. Oakland's not too far off. LA's just a couple pitchers off.
Yeah, I wonder what the state of the Angels are. You know, they have a good young top of the rotation.
They've been rebuilding a long time.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're going to take that next step. Like, hey, we're going to buy, or I don't know.
He won't buy. He'll sit there and look pretty. But if you look at his lineup's getting solid. His pitching's not too far off, but he doesn't have anybody coming up, so he's still a couple years from doing anything.
Yeah, and Mizzy, you still got a pretty stacked lineup and stacked team. You
listen. My team's going to remain almost exactly the same from last season to this season. Only difference is a couple guys going to promote from quad A up to the main squad. Pitching's going to remain more or less the same. Hitting's more or less solid. I might add one bat for the run, but other than that, I should be. And of course, I said that a couple years ago and ended up being one of the worst teams in the league, so I really shouldn't say anything. But hopefully, barring some unforeseen setbacks, I should be right about where I was at this year.
Yeah. Hey, Mizzy, I just want to say one thing, man. This is our first time doing a pod together. You got a fucking voice for radio, bro. Holy shit.
I was thinking the same thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, believe it or not, I hear that all the time, and I'm just too lazy to do anything about it.
Been working on your phonics?
Man.
What was that?
I said, I was asking him, has he been working on his phonics? Sprucing him up for the radio game?
Oh, I'm trying to think who you sound like, Mizzy. Oh, man. He's a current Dodgers radio broadcaster. I'm trying to search up. He used to be ESPN. Oh, man. If I could just pick up his name. Charlie Steiner. You sound like fucking Charlie Steiner, bro. Are you Charlie Steiner? Are you Charlie Steiner?
I am not.
I don't know. Let me know if he sounds like Charlie Steiner, by the way. I could be way off, but Peter, you know what that is?
No clue.
Right, come on, get out. Come on.
We seem to be doing a little bit of this division thing, so I don't know if we sort of want to go through the rotation. I mean, it seems
all right, fuck it.
Working on sort of forecasting.
Let's call this the state of the FCM. State of the FCM, maybe?
Yeah.
just go around. All right, let's go to your division then. NL East.
No, don't jump around. Just go right to the AL Central. Maybe Matt will be enticed to unmute his phone or his laptop.
I don't know. Let's give it about 5 seconds. Maybe he speaks. Don't tell me what to do, he said.
Anyways.
Fuck you, Peter.
That didn't work.
All right, so give me your thoughts on the AL Central.
It's interesting that Matt's talking about sort of breaking down Detroit a little bit. He's got there's Alston on the block right now. He's got someone else, his guy on the block right now. So he's moving two big bats that he's got in his lineup.
I don't think he's moving them, personally.
I agree. I think he's shopping them. I'm not sure he'll come across a deal that convinces him to pull the trigger. But I mean, if someone gets aggressive, then Detroit takes a pretty interesting step back next year.
I don't know about that. That Jim Wagner he's got there in left field is a decent bat. Yeah, he can't field for shit. But, if he trades Alston, there's your DH right there, and he doesn't lose too much production.
Alston dropping off to basically anybody is a pretty big drop-off.
Well, the thing about Alston is that, all right, he's on his last year of his deal. So
it makes sense to sort of shop him and see what's out there.
It makes sense to shop him, but it has to make absolute sense, or otherwise he'll play out the season, and then does he get type A? Does he get extended? I don't know. My guess is I don't know. I'm going to say he gets type A, but I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody will take him type A.
But GB has been flirting with retooling his team. So, but I think he's got the. Actually, I mentioned yesterday that Reds, Tigers and Astros, or like Lakers, Celtics, and then Houston's like the Detroit Pistons. So I look at GB's team like they're the Celtics. They're a fucking dynasty. Probably at the tail end of their dynasty though. They're losing a pitcher now, Summerlin to Type A, but I mean it's still a pretty damn good roster.
Yeah,
I just wonder how long it lasts. That's all.
I think he's still going to win the Central next year, whether he has Alston or not. There's a couple teams with Minnesota, Chicago. Chicago had a really good year the year previous to this one, and they have some really good bats in their lineups. In their lineup, not as really in tune with what pitching they're working with, but if I recall, they needed some sort of refining on the guys they're choosing there.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Chicago as well. I think ever since the X regime came in and now it's Napoli, it's been a pretty steady franchise. I still think they're a piece or two away.
The offense is really strong, and if you just look at their pitching staff, it looks pretty damn good. Dallas has pitched really good, but after that, there's some guys that look real good, but they have 4 ERAs, so they're not doing as much as you'd think they should be doing.
If you're the White Sox right now, you're looking at Dunseth, the first baseman, and Geraldo to break out. Those are your guns right there. It looks like are they heading their third season or third full season? Probably fourth.
Their gun is Dunseith. That guy's a beast.
Yeah, and he's yet to put it all together. So you wonder, hey, age 24 season, can he break out? Because if he breaks out, then this team
I think he's broken out already.
Well, I'm talking like the MVP campaign. Yeah, he's kind of like the breakthrough, not breakout, like a breakthrough. Like
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have breakthrough for sure, but he's damn good.
I'm talking the MVP campaign. Starch.
Listen, I was gonna say, listen, I'll take a 24-year-old winning the MVP.
So wait, is he the youngest ever? Like you were kind of teasing.
I was one while I went on the blog to look, and the blog doesn't necessarily say what age they were, so I'd have to go back year by year, and I'm really not that bored. So
yeah, man, that would be brutal.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. 24 seems a bit young for an MVP.
Yeah. You know what brutal is deleting 28 pages worth of old signings. That took me, I'd say, a cool 30 minutes, and I got carpal tunnel as a result of it. So that shit hurt.
So what do you think about Minnesota going into next year?
Man, they were on a magic carpet fucking ride. I'll tell you that. Holy shit!
They had a strong end of the season.
Strong end of the season. I mean, I don't know.
That's another team. They have the bats. It's just a matter of will the pitching hold up.
My con with that team has always been the defense. They've always had a spotty defense. Now they might have shorted up a little bit, but
let's look at the defense. Defense was center field was a problem. Other than that, they were pretty solid across the board.
No, he definitely shored that up as the season went on. It's just you got to keep that going.
That's most people's problems. Look at Boston, for example, if we want to flop around a little bit. Boston has a team, you look at it and you understand how they're that bad. And then when you pop open the defense and you look at it and you go, holy shit, that's how they're that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they have guys playing positions that they have no reason to be on the field. They're outfield.
I'm going to let you talk, but goddamn, man, your voice is fucking mesmerizing. I can't right now. I'm so dead ass right now. I had no idea. I'm so mesmerized by your fucking voice, man. I don't even know what you're saying. I'm thinking like, damn, man, this guy's famous and shit.
Just pretend it's pure gold. That's all you have to do. But I mean, look at the defense. Their outfield's a joke.
Yeah.
The second base is trash. I mean, it's just that you wonder why they're so poor when you look at their team and think there's no way they could be that bad. That's why they're that bad.
I'll tell you from experience. This is about 13 years for me, but for the first 8-10 years, I didn't give a shit about the defense, and I learned through those 10 years that defense means a lot. And if you hear it from me, hear it from someone else, I mean, offense, pitching is great, but you got to have a defense. Sure, you could outslug people. And I think, Peter, you're a little bit different on defense, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't fall into that class real hard. I mean, defense is important, but if the difference is a big bat or a guy that can't hit at all, I'm picking the big bat every time. Like,
Yeah,
no question for me.
there's different ways to skin a cat when you're trying to win a ball game. So, but
I guess if we want to hop back to the Central, I mean, I think the order is going to be pretty similar to next year. I don't know if these guys are thinking about making big moves this offseason, but as I see it, it'd be Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, Cleveland, and Kansas City. I don't think.
Man, I look at a team like Cleveland.
Mike's trash. Like, Mike's going to be in 5th place again. I don't think he's doing anything.
That team's trash. He's just trying to get picks and build from there.
But to what end? He's been doing that for how many seasons now?
It's about 3.
I want to say
3. Not that long. I'll go through his list right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but I swear that he's been rebuilding for
3. It's been 3 years. He'll be entering year 4. I don't really see the process right now. Like, usually want to go 5 seasons, maybe 6. I don't know, but
okay. So yeah, he made the playoffs. Looks like 266 was the last time.
But even at looking at his roster, I'm like, oh shit, he's still like 5 years away.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Somebody that's been taking picks for even that long, you think they would have some super studs just waiting to break through. And I'm looking at his pitching right now, and I don't see shit.
I mean, Mike really changed his approach to team building this go around. I think it's backfiring a little bit because he's not working on those players that you can sort of recoup some value from, buy low, sell high, and he's not doing that anymore. So he's just relying solely on his drafting and progression. I'm not sure anyone's ever regarded him as one of like the elite FCM GMs in that regard. So I don't know what's going on there, but he's sort of cut off half of the things that were working for him before.
And also he started from ground zero. Like, he completely blew up his roster.
He chose that though.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying, like, he had no one. He didn't have a guy or a set of players that, like, okay, a couple years from now, he had no one in his minor leagues when he decided to build it out, blow it up. I mean, so he's literally building from ground zero. But yeah, entering year number 4, I think he's a little bit behind because I just don't see that team competing anytime soon.
No, if you compare that to the other rebuilding teams, I mean, he's not anywhere close to their level.
Yeah, shit. Mike's gonna hate us now, but we love you, Mike.
Truth hurts.
You still suck. You suck ass at Rocket League, and I already said that Peter's a better teammate than you because you play no defense. But
now he sucks ass at mobile too.
Oh man, shots fired. But I was going to mention,
just give everybody their fair shake. We should probably look at Cleveland real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say Cleveland. Oh man, they have so many good pieces that they could just.
They do have a lot of good pieces, but when I'm looking at Chicago, I mean, Chicago's definitely a more complete team. I think there's an argument for who's going to finish 3rd and 4th, and I think it could flip flop either way between Minnesota and Cleveland. But Cleveland certainly needs some of those extra glue guys to make a real team push for a wild card spot, I think.
Yeah, they have a couple good bats there, but at the same time, from where they look at their minors, I mean, it would almost make sense for them to honestly pitch it in. I mean, they've got a couple good bats, a couple good pitchers, but not enough to put a team together, not enough pieces to get a team together.
Yeah,
I just sell off.
That could buy.
If I were them, I'd just tuck it in, not go as far down as Kansas City, but sell off a couple of these pieces.
I think they could go the opposite way. I think they're missing a couple of pieces, and they could legitimately buy, and maybe they think that Detroit's going to take a step back, and they think Chicago and Minnesota aren't complete yet. So I think buying is totally reasonable for that team.
I agree. They're in the middle. They could go either way, but I don't know. With Minnesota and Chicago making you're hoping that they take a step back as well as Detroit, and you can sneak ahead of them at some point. But I don't know.
Cleveland's just a roster where, man, if they could just add a couple pitchers, if not blow it up, because this is the time to blow it up if you are Decker. But they have, I don't know, I feel like they have a good bullpen, some solid starters, a couple good bats. I don't know. I think they're just
you got 2
division right now. I think it's probably the most competitive division in baseball. The NL Central certainly has a claim to that argument as well, but
the best division in baseball?
Interesting. Most
best
interesting division. Maybe not the best division, but certainly an interesting division.
No, we're the best division in baseball, bro. What you mean?
Well, you might be the best division, but I think the most even division is the AL West. You mean look top to bottom in that league?
That's just not true.
Even?
As far as record goes, look at the worst team only at 88 losses.
Oh,
You
yeah.
look around the other leagues, and a couple of them. Well, okay, maybe not the Central.
Hold up.
No one's buying what you're selling there.
Listen, I'm going to sell a lot of shit tonight. Don't get worried about it. NL Central's by far the best division. And
Wait,
probably most
even division is the American League West.
No.
I'm just looking right now. I mean, I would still say the NL Central because we had
NL Central's the best. No, NL Central's the best division. Don't get me wrong.
Because I think Chicago, I don't know. They were still a good team before they blew it up. I don't know. But
yeah, they blew it up mid-season, so maybe they're not the best track. But you look at that, sure, the top 4 teams are phenomenal. Then you have a long drop-off to Chicago. I mean, you have, 18 games between 4th and 5th?
The difference between Chicago and Texas is 6 games. It's not huge.
Well,
yeah.
I think the best division, pound for pound, has to be the NL Central by far.
I agree.
By far. And since we're there, I guess we might as well talk about them, I guess.
Central makes sense.
Hot take by Maddie today. Cincinnati to gift wrap presents to free agency with not attaching comp tags to Luis Gerardo or Carlos Pimentero. So Cincinnati is losing 2 key relievers here. It was a bit spicy, but I kind of agree. I think they both could have been type B at the very least.
Yeah, they both had a chance again, type B bids. I think Pimentero definitely would have.
100% chance.
Yeah.
Those are 2 key losses for Cincinnati. I know they're not gonna, get you 100 wins, but they're going to lock in 100. They're gonna win you those 100 games.
It's interesting the mindset too, because he's having financial problems. So even on that 1% chance they don't get signed, maybe that 1% chance sort of scared him out of it, because that $8 million would really hurt his budget.
It would, but I don't know. If you're a gambler, you would absolutely.
Yeah, take that chance.
You got to take that chance, especially how scarce relief pitching is in this league. Those are 2 top, maybe not the elite.
They're good relief pitchers,
but they're above average to all-star caliber. I'd say. Pimentero, he's got below 3 ERA, great vitals. He's in good shape. He's not dropping or anything like that. Gerardo, they're both in their prime, so. I don't know. That was shocking.
Yeah, but they're both relief pitchers. Most people won't spend that much on relief guys, even with good track records like they have.
Hell yeah, people would shit.
Yeah.
What you mean?
The market's hot for relief pitchers. If you've got one with a pulse, you can usually get something decent out of it.
Hot. But Cincinnati, they're a bad team.
So
by bad, I mean they're fucking good. So
who do you got 2074 NL Central champ?
You talking to me?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
It's probably me Cincinnati, but I'm telling you, we're not gonna go down, lightly. So
unless you improve your offense, you're not getting the 93 wins.
Yeah. I'm definitely 2 years away, but with how Cincinnati is losing players, they're losing money. You just don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, it's good to have your build-up sort of timed out this way. Certainly, it's not something you can force to happen, but it's working out pretty well.
But Cincinnati's got some bad dudes, so I don't know if we could take them. So, hell, I tried.
Cincinnati's got one of the best players we've ever seen in Dan Vines.
That team is so bad that I tried to fucking avoid Cliff Miller in the NLDS, and it nearly fucking worked. I started my my back end started.
Yep. So you just sort of folded that game.
I folded that game, man. If this was real life, man, they would boo me out of town and shit. But
I mean, that's an interesting strategy. I never tried it, but I mean, I've definitely.
I'll tell you.
So I mean, if this guy's gonna beat me, might as well just let him beat me and try harder the next game.
I knew I was a complete underdog, and I said, fuck it, just try it because you're probably going to lose, 90% of the time anyway, or whatever the fucking odds were. So I said, all right, avoid Miller, take the loss, but go ace 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 against their lesser guys. Even though Dana Belota, he's elite, but the other guys, they're beatable. So I end up winning 2 in a row, and I had my number 1 ace, Prince Valley, going against Grant Grenier, and fucking he came up clutch. So it almost worked, though. I'll tell you.
Took it to 5. It was interesting.
It almost fucking worked.
I'd be in favor of going with making those 7-game series one day. I mean, I mentioned it before. I'd like to see him go 7.
I'm cool with the 5. I would like to.
I prefer the 5.
I'm sorry, Mike. I just real quick. I would like to see the wild card be a 3-game series. I'll keep the DS as 5 and it's 7 on out, but I would love to see wild card go 3. But
I agree.
That's with Mogul. That's with real life as well. But
I agree on both. I think the wild card should definitely be 3. I think it's unfair to teams to run into a hot pitcher and lose out after a good, hard-fought season.
Yeah. But it does definitely build a little bit of drama.
Yeah, I mean, it's drama.
I'll tell you a quick idea I have. If Rob Manfred's listening, I would love for him to take this in. But say you
We're barely going to get 5 guys in the league to listen to this. You're expecting Rob Manfred to randomly win? Come on.
Hey, man, he's a frequent listener to this great podcast, this FCM Rant. So out of the 15 views that we get, the one is Mr. Rob Manfred. So anyway, if you're going to have a 3-game wild card, say, all right, it's Milwaukee versus Pittsburgh. I'm the home team. If I win game 1, I move on. I go to the next series. But if Pittsburgh wins, we have to play a game 3. What do you guys think about that? Almost like an NFL overtime. If the first team scores a touchdown, you win the game. But if you kick a field goal, the other team has a chance.
So you're saying if the home team wins, they move on. If the away team wins, you play 2 more.
Yes. No, you play 1 more. So basically, the away team has to win 2 games, and the home team, because you earned the right to be the number 1 team in the wild card, you win 1 game, you move on. But if you lose that first game, you have to play a second. You have to make the away team earn it.
I kind of think fans would hate that.
They would hate it, but I'm just saying, if you want to have the chance to make it more than 1 game, then do something like that.
So you're saying both games are played at the same stadium?
I'm actually saying that maybe it should be a doubleheader.
But still at the same time.
It's quite insane, but I think it'd be pretty spicy.
I think one owner a year would love that because you'd get double game revenue.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think it's time for our AL East review.
Oh, we barely scratched the NL Central. We still got Pittsburgh to talk about. We still got St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, all right, let's continue on because that idea sucked. Let's go.
All right, let's talk about the Pirates.
Man, I know Gilly wanted to go far, far, far. He's got a great team. He's got an ace. He's got an offense. He just ran to the buzzsaw of this crazy ass division. But if he was in any other division, he probably would dominate. Like, I don't know, if you stuck him in the AL East, I think he'd be the number 1 team by far.
Well, let's be fair. You stuck almost anybody else in the AL East, but I'm gonna shit on the AL East just for fun tonight. I'm just saying.
I'm not shitting on the AL East. I'm saying that like
I'm gonna shit on the AL East.
A division as a top dog, but it just
I think that team's talented enough that they would definitely be competing for the AL East. I'm
only just saying AL East, for instance, like West and the fucking AL West. I'm just saying, like,
I think Pittsburgh's certainly one of the, like, if we're talking about 2074 right now, I think they're certainly one of the favorites for a wild card spot.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. I'm just saying that
I think
they're talented as team.
Based on the teams are now, I would agree with you, but I think a lot's going to happen in free agency and in early trading. I don't think we're going to have anything clear into focus until at least in 1 or 2, outside of the usual teams that are expected to go far: Washington, Cincinnati, and we'll talk about San Francisco in a minute because they were a very interesting team this year.
Oh yes, they were, and we're going to go there next. But I'm going to say real quick about the Cardinals. Same light as the Pittsburgh Pirates, talented ass team. They'll win anywhere else. except this is a fucking bloodbath. So
It's real interesting in St. Louis. That team is underachieved for it feels like 5 straight seasons. We're kind of at the point where maybe Ruben needs to think about sort of his team build because obviously it's not working.
it's almost like Houston Light, where like they had the same core of guys for a number of years, but they just had nothing to show.
I mean, with Houston, they were in the playoffs all the time. I mean,
Right,
with St. Louis, they've been striking out.
Yeah.
They have not gone to the playoffs. And,
Well,
I mean, the talent doesn't look to be to blame. I mean, the talent.
I wouldn't say strikeout.
Something with the mix is not working.
I would say they grounded out to a 6-4-3 twin killer.
I think they're into the Andy buzzsaw for too many years.
Right.
Well, I mean, they've barely made any wild cards over the last couple of years either. I don't think Cincinnati's the core issue.
Well, I think when you play Cincinnati that many times, I would love to see their head-to-head record over the last couple of years. I mean, you play a team that talented that many times over the year, they're going to hurt your overall chance to go anywhere because how many other teams does it play them 18 times a year?
Before this
year,
at least in the NL, the wild card race has not been that hot. It really hasn't been. There's been a lot.
Right. I'm not saying it is.
Tripping into it.
All right, let's jump to the NL West.
If you're going to lose,
let's jump. Sorry, I totally just fucking kicked you in the nuts with that. Didn't mean to cut you guys off.
Listen, I'm just going back and seeing when the last time the Cardinals made it was. 69.
I think they had a CS run.
69, 68, 67, 66. I mean, there's a bunch of years in a row they made the wild card. But I mean, look at how many years in a row now have the Reds won that division. I mean, 64 20. Is the last time they didn't. So it's been 10, 11 seasons.
Obviously a dynasty.
Well,
I've got some recency bias when it comes to St. Louis. I guess I'm thinking about the last 3 years. Their team hasn't changed much since 67, 68, 69, and their wins have dropped way off.
They've lost a couple of starters. Zuninga won. Cracknell's now fading away.
Yeah.
There could be someone else I'm missing, but like they had a good stable of starters. And they're getting older or just not producing the way GD wants them to. But they were a team built on pitching, and the pitching has kind of failed them as of late.
I think it's time for him to sort of mix it up. His stars, or at least Dow is a guy to really consider moving. His value is still sky high, even at 33, and he could probably get a lot for him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he has to think about it.
Yeah,
I don't think he will. I think we all have those players that we love. We won't move for almost anything, and I think Dow's that guy.
And yeah,
I mean, I know I've talked about Dow.
GD is known to keep his guys.
I know I've talked to him about Dow a couple times, and the price is high right away. But even when you get close to meeting it, he just doesn't want to do it. And you can't blame him. A guy like that, it's hard to get rid of.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He hasn't even dropped a single vital yet at 30, going into age 33. Like if he retires right now, he's probably a clear-cut Hall of Famer. So
I think it'd be close. I think he needs. No, he needs more stats. He doesn't have the stats for Hall of Fame.
Yeah, what I'm saying is he's gonna fucking go to the Hall.
I think he'd be in right now.
Yeah, I'm like he ain't slowing down, is what I'm trying to say. Like
no,
he's going in.
I think if he retired today, he'd probably be in.
Well, with the stats, no, but
2,100 hits is a lot of hits in this league.
Sure, but
what's the average?
If it stops today,
it was like 24, 25.
I doubt it.
Well, this guy's. I doubt it. He's on track for 3,000.
Yeah, he's got a good chance.
Anyway, let's definitely go to the NL West. I think Harry might be listening, but what do you guys think about the rising fresh blood?
San Francisco rising.
Hate him. Why?
Yeah, they knocked me out this year. That was rough to swallow.
Man.
Absolutely loved it. Not him beating Pete. I mean, that was not a total wash, but I just love seeing San Francisco rise to a place of prominence again.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Harry's a really good GM, so that team's going to be a force for a while. So
They're just coming into their window right now. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
definitely hit a couple unlucky peaks. We've talked about it. That guy Wesson, I know he's disappointed by him. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't win them all though. But he is the reigning.
That's mogul.
Reigning one of the better closers in the game, if not the best closer in the game, and a bunch of other good supporting pitchers and hitters around him. His minors coming up, especially on the hitting side.
Closer, but based on the stats, he's certainly not. But
no, not necessarily stat wise. I'm saying one of the best closers.
A lot of GMs have told him or asked him or sort of suggested to him maybe you should move this guy to the rotation. I think I'd
Derek Moore?
Serious thought. Yeah, Derek Moore.
Woo, that'd be spicy as hell. Man, I would be hard pressed to not start him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
honestly,
if I can get 200 innings like that,
I mean, he is. Yeah.
Question is how will he transform? I've tried to transform guys from relievers to starters and back and forth, and it's always gone terribly. Mind you, none of them have been quite as good as Moore, but not with one player. I'm just saying overall. There, you got a guy that you know is going to lock. We're talking about relievers being a hard pressed thing right now.
It'd be a slow transition because he's starting at 25. If he was starting at 40, I think by the end of the season he'd be up to 70 or so. But I think it would take 2 seasons for him to be up at like 70. I think it'd be worth it.
It'd be worth it too.
Anyways,
maybe. I don't know.
The other storyline in the West was how badly Los Angeles underachieved. They dealt off some of their talent, but I think they kept a lot of it. They still have Cirillo. They still have Brett Marshall. Still have, I guess those are their biggest pieces. But you'd expect a team, even with those 2 pieces, to be up at 500.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they didn't have the pitching.
I'd be curious to look at their strategies and see what's going on there.
Point blank, they didn't have the pitching.
They had the pitching. They traded most of it.
Well, yeah, they traded most of it, but even after the trades, they picked up some more offensive talent, but they left off with, below average starters.
So what do you think about the decision for Los Angeles to want to head towards a rebuild in that situation? For me, I'm looking at it. Arizona's not a threat. San Diego's not a threat yet. Colorado's in a rebuild.
San Diego is coming. They're coming soon. So I look at them as
Los Angeles could have had another 3 years of probably being the favorite out there. I think they should have probably kept it together. I mean, their pieces are not that old.
I think the thing with Los Angeles is they have the budget. They have the budget right now, and he has the cash. He'll be able to make some moves if he wants to this offseason, early start of next season. Because he is, he's a pitcher or 2 away. His bullpen seems to be a mess. But his hitting good guys coming up. Look, Jamari Smith down there is a big power, big eye guy. Again, no contact, not the kind of guy I like, but still a big bat that could play for him.
There's a good pitcher from Detroit hitting the market. I'm sending a pretty good pitcher to free agency. I mean, if Los Angeles invested in those 2 guys, they could certainly be in the race next year, but it'll just be interesting to see if he wants to do that or if he's just committed to the rebuild.
He would just need to get really fine with some of the moves he's making. So, but I agree. He could easily.
He has the cap space. He could make some nice dives into free agency. But again, will he take San Francisco? I don't know if he'll overtake San Francisco next year.
But I'll tell you what, San Francisco is not bulletproof. A couple moves here and there.
No, absolutely not.
Easily take over. Like if we're going against the Reds, different story.
Again, they don't count.
Who does count?
Reds don't count. They're too good. They're you can't compare them to most of these other teams.
No. What I'm saying San Francisco is not bulletproof. You have a chance to buy for a year or 2 and overtake the division lead. But if you're the Cubs and you're trying to buy, Cincinnati is going to be tough to beat.
I see what you're saying.
So that's all I'm saying. They have a chance in free agency, and maybe with a couple moves here or there. Texas Tornado, yes, for the link, and we gave him the love already.
Yeah, so I think Los Angeles will be one of the more interesting teams to watch this offseason, just because I think with a couple, I don't know, 3 or 4 decent additions to the team, I think they can compete with San Francisco pretty easily. Just be interesting to watch what decision they want to go with.
I think an interesting team to watch will be Arizona. I just want to know. I'm curious to see where Pika is going to go. He's got some players that are below the radar. Javi Valdez, Stu Tippett. Those are top of the rotation type dudes. I think Valdez, he's a year away, but I think he's just got a couple guys here and there. Where like, weird ballpark, get a couple arms, but he's got a couple offensive talent.
He's got some good things going on. I think the best thing to do in his shoes is sort of wait, just sort of let it play out.
Right. Of course.
And, yeah.
I'm just saying, don't sleep on backs when they're coming in full swing.
He made some delves in the free agency last year that I thought weren't too top of the notch, and it didn't pan out for him. It's
Really?
just
Carlos Libera's worked out.
I said Greer. I was looking more at Greer. Million on Greer.
Yeah.
Greer's got solid titles.
He did pay for 3 pitchers.
I'm pretty sure 4.3 is East quality in that ballpark.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe the ballpark's the problem. But
if I was the owner of that team, I would want to do something with that ballpark. That would drive me absolutely insane. I mean, you can play to it a little bit. You can sort of play off those tendencies, but it's going to be tough when it comes to the playoffs.
It doesn't take but a couple million to fix that. Fix the dimensions, fix the sight lines, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just an interesting case. Do you want to play to he could just easily take the strategy. I'm just going to play to my ridiculous ballpark and.
But then he can just get homer, and just mash the ballpark.
I haven't even looked at how ridiculous is this stadium.
You just need to get creative, and just find out what works. And I'm sure Cad can talk about this because he's in Colorado. Extreme ballparks. You just gotta either play to it or just try to. I don't know. Honestly, personally, I would play to the strength of the ballpark and just get Homer happy.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You can also go the other way with your hitters in that sort of ballpark and get sort of contact heavy guys. Those contact heavy guys are going to hit more homers than you'd expect them to. And when you get on the road, they're going to sort of do their thing.
Sure, but then a road team will come in your ballpark and get out of the ball.
It's tricky.
I agree. I mean, I always try to build toward the more contact guys. I even built my park to be more contact friendly, and I still have 3 guys hitting 30 home runs a year. So,
all right, let's
splits. I'm not too sure about.
Anything on San Diego and Colorado?
That's only fair. Let's look at Colorado next.
Colorado, I know they're rebuilding. They actually had a pretty good year at the right fielder, Randy Butler. He was a guy on my radar. He might have been, sipping a little bit of that Coors Light, but
man,
just a little bit. But
just a little bit.
Just a little bit of Coors Light.
That ballpark gets some crazy years out of the strangest guys.
I mean, Tim Peterson, he was getting drunk all year of Coors Light.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
He's a former 6th rounder of mine, and guy hit 34 homers this year.
I wish. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm sure there's a way to do it within sortable stats, but I wonder if there's a way to show home and away splits. Man,
there are.
There's not. I just looked.
There's not. Okay, well.
No, well, not that I can find.
Quick.
When I was talking about my guy.
But it's clear that Colorado's they're they just started their rebuild for the most part, so they're a couple seasons away. But the fighting Maddies in San Diego.
Yeah,
I think that's also a team to watch out for. Very, very soon.
I don't think so. I think I think he's trying to step it back again. I think just based on the guys he has on his block, he has a couple of his best pitchers on the block. I think he's
had them up there for a year now.
I think he's still working to get his guys in the system. I mean, he made a big of his guys in when he made the trade with Decker to switch teams. And some of these remnants that are coming up are still not his guys.
I think it's still cycling.
He's
still cycling talent, but
I think some of the guys that he has coming, he's got some good talent, especially on the hitting side. But I think you're right. I don't think he's got enough to make any time to run anytime soon.
Well, Well, knowing Matty and how he, I don't really know Matty, but just how he just how he operates his rosters. He's got a pretty good core of pitching, especially on the relief side, and I know he builds a really good bullpen. I think he's good on that front. Hitting wise, he's picked up a lot of power players. Obviously, Requendez. He had Contreras already on the team. I think he's trying to swap him. And McAndrew, gentle as well. He's got some power hitters, so I think he's on the right track. And also James Bird, he's going to be a fucking stud too. I think he's on the right track to become a threat very soon.
Yeah, I think he's on the right track. I just don't think it's very soon. I'd be surprised if he was competing before 77.
I think 76.
I tend to agree. I think it's be more 77 because I don't think he's done tinkering out there.
He might have a couple tricks up his sleeve because he's got a lot of prospects he could maneuver.
He does. It's a question of do people want him though.
Fair enough. NL East.
Man, he'll hit you with the block reminders every 2 seconds. Someone will want him after all those reminders.
Tweet reminders too. NL East.
There's a reason why I don't have access to Twitter.
Well, I don't know. We want to bring up legal issues today, Mizzy. NL East. I don't know what the fuck you do outside lines.
I just meant the FCM Twitter.
I'm fucking with you, man. Peter, what's the state of the Nationals?
Look at them. They're on top. That's the state.
Here we go.
That's it. I mean, I want someone to try to take me down next year. It's not going to happen.
Well, San Francisco just took you down.
Well, we're talking about the NL East.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I thought you were talking about the FCM world.
No, I'm not the world champs. I can't talk that shitty.
You're type B and Rug.
Yeah, I'm type B and Rug.
What do you think? Your starters are kind of leaking oil the past couple of years. Well, no, bad.
My starter's not leaking oil. I got some of the best pitching talent in the league.
Okay.
I mean, there's no bullshit.
Hey, listen, I helped. I traded him a guy that had 2.93 ERA for him.
Yeah, you traded him. He went 0-5.
He was 0-5, but he had 2.93.
I don't know how he managed that, but he pitched pretty well.
Brutal. I had a guy, Kirkpatrick, on my team. He had a sub 500 record, but he had a 2.22. Like, come on. ERA.
Yeah, Mogul's weird that way.
Yeah. But my pitching's not leaking any oil. I mean, I'm bringing back my top 4 guys. All those 4 guys that had really good careers, and they're still really good.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I love
I have.
That was the deal of the fucking century. Besides the what the fuck's his name? Milton. The Milton deal. We don't have to talk about it. But
what was the deal of the century?
No, the Milton deal to Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Let's not talk about that. I'm still dodging wrenches from that one.
You can dodge a ball, you can dodge a wrench. Is that the one?
Listen, every time Andy's on the chat, I just duck and hide and hope he doesn't see me.
Well, sorry, bro. Kind of just threw you under the bus there.
I'll let you guys comment on the rest of the NL East. Maybe I'll chime in as permitted.
I mean, a lot.
I was gonna sit here and stroke Washington some more, but I'll move on.
That's weird. I think I thought I'd see more out of Philly. I'm not sure where they're at right now. Like if Chris is gonna go for it or not. I expected a little bit more out of that team, but I think that's a team to watch out for. But I just expected more of that last year. That guy Devlin became a pretty damn good starter. They have good arms.
Yeah, he's not trading him.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is a little bit of a ticking time bomb when it comes to trades, but
I think he's got some good talent there, especially on the pitching side. I think he could definitely put a run into it. I don't think enough to Washington by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe one to have an outside shot at a wild card position.
I think they could make a couple moves to make some noise.
I think they really hurt the sort of the longevity and the long-term look on the team, the Termel deal. I think he gave up a whole draft class. I don't know if he gave up any additional pieces, but Termel's a guy that, looks fancy. I don't know. I mean, Termel's sort of.
I think it was just the draft class.
I'm biased against him.
I agree. I don't think that he was. I was shocked when that deal went down because I figured Termel's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but I just don't think he's a player that's worth a whole draft class.
Yeah, and he put all of his chips in that bucket.
You're looking at a guy that coming into that year, his best year was his 23-year-old season where he hit 297, and he still only had a 736 OPS.
Yeah.
I mean, his career OPS is 683. You give up a whole draft class for that. Granted, I know OPS isn't everything, but you're looking at 279, 344, 339 triple slash. I mean, and his defense is a 963. And his DW there is a negative almost 1, negative 0.9. I mean, that's not a guy you trade a whole draft class for and then come out on the other side happy about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, damn, Chris, I tried to give you some.
Hey, you got
fed to the dogs.
You wanted hot takes.
No, I love the hot takes, bro. What do you mean? Nah, but I really think that Philly is well, they have to get creative with a couple moves, but like they got a good rotation. Like, and you got Hadelman. He's on the way soon. Not right away, but he's on the way. You got Devlin, you got Beltian. Greeny, he's good now. He's okay. He's not like an 8-starter.
As well.
Yeah, I know. He's talking about trading everyone, but like that's why I call him he's a bit of a ticking time bomb, loose cannon, because he could trade the whole roster tomorrow, and I wouldn't be shocked. I just think he has a good core talent that he can make some noise if he picks up a first baseman, if he picks up a decent catcher, but he's got second base, shortstop, third base locked up. That's pretty damn good.
The offense certainly needs some love in Philly.
I'm just saying, like, you have Bruce Connors, you have Kelly, two great guys in the outfield. You have your middle infield 75% set. You just need a first baseman. Boom, easily plug in a guy better than Drew Carter. Maybe as well. Like, I'm just talking. They could add players in spots where it's kind of easy to add, not like a shortstop and a speedster. Who's the guy,
He did a great job adding a shortstop already, so we don't need to worry about that. But he is a first baseman. Is a first baseman waiting for him in AAA. It's ready to come up just about. Jonah Higgins is listed as a left fielder, but when you click on him, he's actually a first baseman. And he's just about ready to make that. He's going to play first base like Trammell plays shortstop, but still, you can plug him in right away. He's not going to have the best season.
Well, whatever it is, he needs to pick up a bat and probably a catcher as well. And you can easily pick up a bat somewhere.
So I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Philly finished above New York next season. New York seems to be running on some of that G magic, a little bit left over from George's days in New York, so they still got a lot of those guys still lurking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything out of New York. I think it's going to be Washington, Philly, 1-2 in the East coming in the next year. I don't think New York's going to do anything.
My hot take is Philly might be in a wild card game next year.
With the right moves, they have a shot.
Philly will be in the wild card hunt next year. Not wild card. They will be in a wild card game next year.
It's way too early for that. If they make the right moves, they're certainly in the conversation, like Mike said. But
that all depends on the moves he makes, then.
Yep.
But yeah, New York is definitely running on E of that G.
I could see New York falling down the fourth next year. I could see Florida holding the third spot, Philly at 2.
Like, if they went through a rebuild, man, you got some pieces they can move, especially in Houston. But yeah, I don't see that team making any noise anymore. They've just kind of passed their window, so to speak. Florida is a surprising team. I actually thought Florida was going to be not a force, like obviously, but I thought they would be in second place last year. Call me crazy, but I really
thought that.
I didn't know. I really did, because I thought they had the rotation to do it.
I like their rotation. I'm not going to lie, but
I'm just shocked. They all had subpar seasons.
There's just something about that team that, like, you look at their players and everything looks very shiny, very pretty, and they just never seem to come together as a unit. I mean, I think it's the bullpen last year. You look at the bullpen. The bullpen's just trash. Outside of Mel Jackson, $20 million, $18 million man.
I don't know. I think that it's hard to diagnose this team. I'm not a certified doctor over here, but I don't know.
Defense. It's defense. Look,
Probably, you're probably right. But I think they have the rotation to do something.
They have the bats to make a little bit of noise too.
Like this should be a division that it should be a lot, maybe not close because I think Washington is definitely the number one team, but I think it should just be a lot more parity than what currently is showing.
I agree. I think Philadelphia and Florida, even if they don't make many moves, can still be a lot better than they were this year.
Disappointing, y'all. Come on. Atlanta, you just wonder. It's not a matter of if, it's when, because they have a bunch of dudes in their farm system. When are they going to make that jump? Peter, what do you think?
I don't think we're waiting for the jump. I think we're waiting for when they start dealing those guys off like crazy in their buying spree. I think that's pretty much Stang's MO. So whenever that offseason hits that he starts dealing those guys off, it'll be pretty fun to watch.
You get veteran talent?
I mean, that's been how it goes. That's like the Stang cycle.
Stang cycle?
I think with Rocky being down there trying to literally being the Rock, not trying to put it too much on the nose, I think it's going to be – I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to sit pretty. I mean, you got Alderley down there just waiting for one more jump to be effective. Just him on the pitching side. You don't have anybody to make deals from unless he's going to start wheeling and dealing on picks again, but he tends to stock up picks more than trade them.
It's true.
I mean, he could deal from the hitting side, but outside, you look at his lineup and it's not pretty. But you look down below in the minors and see all these guys that are just about there.
His team's going to be fucking like fright fest for you, Peter. I'm telling you.
What's that?
I said this team's going to be a fright fest for you, man.
Man, I've been hearing that for years.
I know you've been hearing it for years, but like that storm.
I've been watching them.
That storm is coming, man. That storm is coming. The storm is coming.
I'm telling you what. I'm looking at some more into these hitting specs that he has. And Pete, I'm terrified for you. Holy shit! I mean, literally, you look at his top 5 specs right now that are sitting in his minors, and 4 of them should be playing in the majors right now. The catcher should be playing, the left fielder should be playing, probably should be playing, and the center fielder probably should be playing. I mean, they're going to be, good Lord, if they can graduate even 2 of those to start next season, they're going to be a lot better than people think.
They don't need to graduate them. There's no rush to graduate them. No rush to graduate those cats, is all I'm saying.
Well, let's
It's gonna be a fucking team to watch. All right, let's go to the AL East. I, for one, was really shocked that Toronto, because they were drinking the Labatt Blues, fucking cold all fucking year.
Yeah, I think most people are probably calling Montreal to start the year. I'm not shocked that Toronto won it just because Corey's been building that team up for a long time. And when Corey's paying attention, I mean, he did a really good job in New York when he was the GM there. So when he gives the time and attention, he can build a good team, and that seems to be what happened here. His run differential certainly indicates that he way overachieved and Montreal way underachieved.
Man, that's crazy.
But I don't think it's a fluke that he can't continue to build off of it.
All I'm saying is that Montreal got robbed.
Yeah, Montreal did get robbed.
It's like they had a 12-game losing streak at the beginning of the year and just never, like, I don't know what happened, but like it's like they just never recovered from like a huge losing streak or something. Like that is a differential and a half.
Yeah,
and they failed to make.
Just looking at that, you'd probably say Montreal's the favorite for next year, but I think Toronto can continue to win.
I don't know. I'm looking at them more in depth now, and I'm just at first blush, I'm saying, how did they win 98 games? And then I remember Boston's in the division,
bro.
Well, then Boston's in the division, and it kind of becomes a little more clear.
That team has a lot to spend.
I think it was pitching.
whether they want to trade cash or if they want to invest in free agency, they got a lot of money to spend.
Toronto solely was carried upon their pitching. I mean, you look at their starting rotation, and they've got a killer top three. And then past that, they still got another, was it Cranston's not that is a solid guy as well.
Killer?
And the bullpen played pretty well. You look at the 3-0.
But killer top three. I think it's a cute top three. I don't know if it's a killer top three.
I think. Well, let's be fair. I'm looking at vitals, and they're now okay. So the second one's not as good as I recall. But
I'm just saying.
You look at their stats from last year. You're looking at 18-9, 16-8, 12-3 with all sub 3.5 ERAs.
They were playing out of their ass last year. The whole team.
Yeah.
Just say it, bro. How the fuck did this team win 98 games?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's how I started this.
It'll be interesting to see what the free agent market's like, because if there's an opportunity for this team to add bats, they have plenty of money to invest in it.
And Corey is known to buy, so
yeah,
he definitely has a.
Yes, I remember him and I were on a bidding war with that left fielder of his.
Donato. I'm probably biased, but I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking Humphreys could be a huge addition in the middle of this lineup.
I don't hate that. I wouldn't hate that.
I think he needs a bat, and I think he needs a pitcher if he wants to continue. I
think he needs a pitcher as well. I think he needs a pitcher, and I wouldn't hate on replacing that first baseman he had. Yeah.
I still think Montreal's the favorite going into the next year.
Yep. Baltimore's an interesting team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Peter, Baltimore.
They've been cruising. It seems like third place for a while now. They got a lot of nice young talent.
Oh, Baltimore!
Don't they have Andy's favorite young player?
Gene Wood.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Gene Wood.
He might be an MVP candidate very soon.
I'm not sure if he'll ever have that sort of ceiling, but I think this guy's going to be super consistent. I think he's definitely got 30 home run potential. Yeah, there's a lot to like about Gene Wood. And I kind of like the idea that he was batting him leadoff.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 5-tool guy. He can run.
I mean, he's a leadoff hitter. He doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the power, but he's got that eye contact that, again, I'm biased because that's what I always look for in players.
You could bat him anywhere, and you would like what you're getting out of him. And I mean, there's a lot to like about Baltimore. There really is.
Hell yeah. And I've been saying this for years, too.
He's got Tim Houston ready to go.
I feel like they took a step back last year in terms of production. It's like, what the fuck happened last year? Their pitchers, at one point, all were shit in the bed. All of them. Like James Carter, his stats took a step back. Allen took a step back, not expecting the world out of him. Kosi at a certain point, he wasn't pitching well. Like, I thought this team would be a sneaky team to make the postseason.
I think AL East is looking like, just maybe I didn't think this before the pod, but just looking at it now, there's a lot of build-up that the AL East can be pretty interesting next year.
I don't know what it is about the Baltimore Orioles. I'm just saying, like, they have – when I look at this team at face value compared to Toronto, I'm like, how the hell is this team not winning 98 games like Toronto is? Maybe.
I think more.
Maybe 74 will have that.
Well, they got to start by scoring more runs than they allow.
I think they have to shore up their bullpen. I'm not sure. Let me see their defense. I think he's gone. I hope he's DHing. First base is cool. Oh shit, man. Yeah, maybe his outfield defense is suspect. His catch is suspect. His second baseman is suspect.
Good start.
All right, yeah, all right. So he needs to shore up his defense. That we're not doctors, but we can play one on radio. So he needs a little bit of a defensive help.
I don't think his defense is as bad as it looks.
Nah, they're pretty shitty.
But I think he needs something.
That second baseman's got to go. That catch has got to be upgraded. Corner outfield, a true center fielder would help. A true center fielder, because they had this guy John McAmey.
I have no problem with McAmey playing center.
I think you need a little bit more speed and range.
I think at this point you would probably say I can maybe upgrade the bat too, just because of the age and the way he's progressed. So maybe he's just looking for an upgrade at this point. But I don't know.
We're at center.
Yeah, but
I'm not down on his defense.
I think his outfield defense. His outfield defense could totally be better.
Yep.
His fielding percentage is above average. His defensive average is above average by quite a bit. I mean, yeah, his outfield might be a little bit lacking.
Mike, you're having some mic issues, man.
Yeah, slight. I still hear you, but a little. But
Yeah,
to go off,
that happens sometimes when I'm outside.
What
but
the fuck are you doing outside?
I was being too loud to be inside, so I was asked to go outside.
what, you get kicked out?
Like a dog.
But Baltimore's a
I
couple
was
tweaks away.
recommended to go outside, so my daughter go to sleep.
They are a couple tweaks away, man. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid, that orange Kool-Aid for a while. So maybe next year.
It'll be
But-
really fun to watch the AL East next year. I guess if we want to talk about New York and Boston, they're just hard rebuilds.
Hard rebuild. New York's
They are hard rebuilds, but
New York picks up some talent though.
New York picked up some nice-looking guys.
In New York.
Rebuild effort, but they're not ready.
No. I meant for the future.
Yeah.
No, they're about 2 years away.
No.
They're further away than that probably, but
I say 3 or 4.
they got some more tweaking to do this offseason. They got rid of a lot of their headliners, but those sort of second-tier guys, I think Eric's going to be working the trade phones, figuring out what he can get for those. So that'll be the step in the next direction for him.
And last but not least, we got Boston.
Oh, man, this is the
Literally last.
They definitely don't have they don't have Tommy Mansky as their defensive coach. I'll tell you that. If you don't know,
Honestly,
he's the guy who does those.
Well, it just sucks because I know this was the case last season, 2072, that Chuck was playing guys out of position at the end of the year. So that's shitty. I've gone on the pods about that. Just like, don't do that. You're fucking with the races. You're fucking with the people, and nobody likes a tanker. So don't do that, Chuck, if you're listening. It was interesting just to backtrack a little bit. Nobody thought that team was going to be that bad last year, and it started the landslide, and it was a steep landslide for this team.
Yeah.
It's the defense. You look at it, and it really falls almost completely on the utter lack of defense.
And it's like everyone's below average on defense.
And again, I know some of these stats that Boatwell comes up with are not the most telling stats, but you look at the defense percentage, and he is by far the worst team out there by 40-plus points.
That defensive average might be the worst I ever seen.
And again, like I said, I don't know how much stock I actually put in that one. Fielding percentage, I would put a little bit more stock into. And again, he's quite far below the league average.
I'm not even sure why it's quite that bad. I'm looking through his team. I don't see anybody playing out of position. That's what I would expect with.
There's no one playing out of position. It's everyone being below average at their position. And he doesn't have a shortstop. And his third baseman is whack as shit.
I almost think that even his team as is would be due for some regression back to the mean even next season. There's no way he's gonna be 649 even with those guys. Like that.
And also a second baseman shouldn't even have a glove.
No.
So
between the bad defense and the distinct lack of pitching is his problem.
his top guy is pretty fucking fancy. I'll tell you that though.
It's interesting. He is pretty good.
But look closer. Look, he's got good control. He's almost there in power. He's got good movement. First of all, he's a lefty. How many of us like lefties?
I like that.
I think he's upper echelon lefty if we're gonna go up that righty lefty.
I think Bertot will be fine in time.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
And I think the ERA is largely inflated by the defense not working last season.
Well, and his dice is a lot lower, though Matty would yell at me because he thinks dice is irrelevant.
I like looking at dice.
I don't really look at dice, but I know that defense ain't helping Bertot. He's gonna need some help.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, look at his OBA. His OBA is 303.
Well, the defense sucks. Like he hit a ground ball to short.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's going to go through the legs. He's going to get hit. Absolutely.
He's gonna get hit. Yeah.
so Chuck still has some interesting guys to deal off. It seems like that's the direction he's going. So
All I'm saying, I just wish rebuilding teams were like, maybe not, give it just a little bit of a damn to play just like a decent team out there. 53 wins is kind of embarrassing,
It is embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. I don't know,
I agree.
but
I mean, we don't want to end the pod on this sort of note either. I mean, we got to move off of this.
He made it off the line. That was the important thing. Everybody was worried he wasn't going to make it. He made it above 50. So
yeah, that's almost
That
like
is
the
such a
sad
low
part.
bar.
That's the sad part. Like, he just got over that line.
I'm not saying it's not incredibly sad, but it is what it is. You feel a better defensive team. You win 20 more, not 20, but 10 more games, 15 more games.
Yeah, I know.
Just think about it this way. In real baseball right now, everybody's shitting all over the White Sox how bad they are this year. They already have 42 wins. Compare that to what Boston has. Like, the White Sox might have 10 more wins than Boston did. Like, that's pathetic.
Yeah,
It's true.
that would, like, if this happened in real life, they would be killing. Boston would be on fire.
Oh, yeah, Boston would be on fire.
It would be on fire.
Of all cities, yeah, they'd absolutely be on fire.
Well, I think we got to every single division, every single team, actually.
So, I don't want to leave it on this Boston note, so maybe we should, like,
Well, what's on your
who's
mind?
going to be the biggest risers next season? Who's going to be the biggest followers next season?
What's on your mind? And now it's an open forum, so.
So what are you looking for? You're looking for teams that we think are going to surprise people? Because we kind of already covered that.
Yeah, like the most what. Obviously, we don't have off-season trades to work with, so we don't know that stuff. But you can do a little bit.
Oh, come on, Texas has sold a couple of their RB guys. It's really interesting.
What about Texas?
Literally, Texas. They're literally the only team that's been in. They've been in every trade that's been so far that's happened this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, trades will probably be going down after the free agency files out. So you see the draft class,
if teams are smart.
Because I'll tell you, this league's an interesting spot right now because there's a lot of teams in it to win it, and Cincinnati's not the Cincinnati of old. I think Houston is not as strong as They're not going to be winning for the next 8 years, going to World Series. This is so wide open. So
Houston only won their division by one game this year, and it was going back and forth up until the end.
So maybe a lot of GMs are just playing a game of chess and just waiting.
So none of you guys seem to want to pick a team, so I'll pick some teams. So the biggest follower, I'll start with the biggest follower. I think it's going to be Toronto. So Corey can change this by making some good free agent signings, making the right trades. But as of right now, as it looks right now, I think Toronto's the biggest follower. As for the biggest riser, I'm going to go with the LA Dodgers. I think Scott's going to get enticed by some free agents. He's going to get enticed by some trades to sort of pull the reins back on this rebuild decision. And I think he'll be in play for the NL West next year.
Oh, man. Are we going?
I'm going to.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. I'm thinking.
You keep thinking. I'm gonna be different because I don't want to go with something that I think it's obvious, like Toronto. I think the Mets. I think the Mets are gonna have the biggest fall off next year. I mean, I know they didn't make the playoffs. I know they weren't the flashiest team, but I think they're gonna have by far the biggest falling next season, to the point that they could finish 4th or 5th in that division. I honestly wouldn't put us past them. And as far as the biggest risers go, I think that's tough. I think LA is a good choice because, again, they have the cap and they have the base already. But if we're solely looking on teams that don't really have that, I'm going to see look before somebody else does. I think Baltimore's going to have the biggest rise next year. They're going to push. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're going to make a good, solid push.
Wow. A little bold call from Skip.
I'm bold.
Risers, I will go Baltimore. I will go Philly. Has to be a third. My third team. I'm not buying the LA Dodgers going skyrocket up. I'm not buying that.
Well, they finished at 73. They don't have the skyrocket.
My third team would be Marlins.
I think.
Yeah. Teams that will fall, I think inevitably it'll be Toronto. Even though they had a magical season, I think it's going to be a tough-ass division next year. I don't think they're going to get to 98, so I look at them more of a 86, 87 win team contending for the wild card. I think that's a team that's going to drop a little bit. Also, another team that's I think could take it to the next level, Oakland. Fred is not really known to make moves, But if he could just make a couple moves, I think he could flirt with the AL West, because I think that division is more vulnerable than any other in recent years.
That's an interesting one. I think Houston could pretty quickly shut that like noise down if they're open to moving their draft picks, if they're open to trading off a few prospects. They don't have to get a guy that's 32, but if they get some guy that's under 30 and he can still contribute and he's an additional big piece, I think that would probably it would push Fred to maybe I should slow down and wait a little bit longer.
I don't disagree. Sorry.
Let's be fair. I'm gonna help my own guys here. I'm not gonna put Seattle out of it just yet. Seattle's got a very good core of hitters, and they're not losing any of their pitching.
I'm not sleeping on that.
Yeah, never afraid to make a deal.
Who, me? No, I never make trades.
No.
No. Well, let's be fair. This year, I was proud to say I was not the busiest GM. I think either Minnesota or Milwaukee definitely took me out on that one.
I definitely bought. That's because I had the space to do it. I just opened up a park, and that added my budget up tremendously.
Listen, I was worried for you at the start of the season because you were making all these trades, and I'm looking at them like this is either going to pay off handsomely for him, or he's going to fall flat on his face, and I'm going to feel terrible about it. And it worked out great for you. I was very well surprised about that.
I'm good, brother. Thanks for your concern. We're going to be all right. But yeah, any other things to talk about today, or?
I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job.
I think we did a pretty good
job. No trades and no free agents to work with right now.
Yeah.
I think once free agency hits by just before winter ball, I think we're going to start to see a lot of change in some of these teams, because I think you're right. Some of these divisions are a little bit more open, and some of these teams that have been seen as powerhouses for a long time look like they might start to show a little bit of rust, and some teams might try to take advantage of that. And either they will succeed or they'll fail miserably, but I think more and more, at least the last couple of seasons, people have been a little less willing to really make those big trades.
I think the timing of this pod was also interesting. I think a lot of the pods that happen in the offseason are often after free agency, after trades. So those discussions geared towards what did happen, what direction did people go. Whereas this pod, we sort of discussed what directions do we think it's going to go, which opportunities do we see out there. So it was sort of a different spin on the offseason podcast thing.
I think it's will be well received too. I think it'd be good to see where we think people could go or won't go, and see whether they do or not. What we should have done from the beginning is agreed offline to try to push people one direction, and then subtly did that the whole pod, and hoping to send some team over the edge.
And I think this is an interesting spot of the FCM league, where I will say it again with the early '90s of the NBA. We're shifting towards different powers of teams, whereas the dynasty of Cincinnati, Detroit, Houston, I would say those are the three teams. Washington too. Those teams are not as strong as they were 3-4 years ago. So new teams are coming around. So starting in '74, we might be looking at a different era of FCM. Maybe not different. I don't think it's time yet, but it's showing that, Milwaukee's coming around, San Francisco's coming around. You're seeing Seattle turn a corner, Montreal, Baltimore, like these teams, Philadelphia. These teams are coming, and the tide's starting to turn a little bit. Maybe not next year, but you can see it happening. I think it's a pretty cool thing with this league. So.
I absolutely think you're right. I think some of these teams are starting to turn the corner, and some of the old guard might slip up. But you've got some wily GMs in some of those positions that, if they're doing it right, they're not going to go quietly into that good night. Detroit's not going to go away. Washington's not going to go away. I just don't think they're going to all of a sudden fall asleep at the wheel and start.
And I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that. Hey, Cincinnati's not going to make the World Series. Houston's not going to make the World Series. But I think you can't make the guaranteed, hey, let's put money on it. 4 top teams that will make this championship series will be Washington, Cincinnati, Houston, Detroit. I think those days are kind of over. So now it's open.
you're right. The new guard is coming, but it's a matter of can some of those GMs hold on by trading away those guys you wouldn't expect, getting young guys to come in and take over their spots. Detroit and Washington are pretty able to do that. Not so sure about Cincinnati yet. We shall see with that. I think that is still a massively good team that Andy built. And how much longer it could hold on as such, I don't know. I think with the issues that they have as far as cap and other things, that they might tail off sooner than we think. I hope not. I hope they continue just to dominate and make people look silly out there in the Central. But I don't think it's going to happen too much longer because there's too many revolving issues that I don't know if they have control over or not.
And what team you mentioned? Sorry.
He's talking about Cincinnati.
That was for
Cincinnati.
Talking about Cincy. As far as Seattle goes, this year wasn't my window. I wasn't expecting my window to start till this coming season or probably the season after. The fact that I won 93 games is amazing. So,
I mean, you're a team of
you're right.
veterans. So how do you not think that? You're a team full of veterans.
Well, I think what happened was going into the season, I had absolutely no pitching. I had these pitchers that are great vitals, no health, and were injured half the season. And when I slowly changed them out and brought in these new guys, it really did help and it should carry me up until my window when it really expands, when I have these two young stud pitchers come up and hopefully take the world by storm.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to put this pod to a close. But
bury it.
I really appreciate you two coming on. This is an impromptu pod, so these are always fun because like we come in with no idea what the fuck we're going to talk about, and there's no trades, as Peter mentioned, and there's no free agency, so this is like a dead zone kind of period.
And it's been nice. We got to have a little new pod blood. I think this is Mikey's first pod.
Yeah, it's my first one I've actually been to. Probably my third that I've said I've been on. I will be on. So,
and dude, like, go work for like a minor league team or some shit. Like, work on the ranks, bro. Your fucking voice is great. I ain't going front. Like, what the hell? You should be like doing ball games for the Pirates right now. You know, I love what's his name, Greg Brown.
Greg Brown's just so.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome.
God, I love listening. That makes me actually reminds me I should be watching the game right now and seeing what's going on. I'm too busy doing this to remember the Pirates are playing.
Yeah, well, we're holding on, so I'm gonna hit sign out. But it's been fun, so I will talk to you guys soon. This has been
all right, catch you guys later.
A good FCM rant.
Minnesota.